Good morning, everybody. Give just a minute for people to enter into the webinar and then we'll get started. All right. If you're just joining us, we're just waiting for folks to come into the webinar, so we'll get started in just a couple seconds here. All right, and it looks like that number has pretty much stabilized. So I would like to welcome you all to the virtual college exploration for all North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers and StriveScan. Thanks for joining us today for this session with Elon University. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters. You'll see that located at the bottom of your screen there. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. So that Q&A box is going to be the best way to engage with them. And just remember, this is one of many different sessions happening over the course of the week. So be sure to check out the full schedule at CACRAO.org or CACRAO.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, so CACRAO.org. And at this time, I will stop sharing and turn it over to our presenter.
Good morning, everybody. My name is James Thurnis. I am the Director of Transfer and Special Admissions here at Elon. Got some information for you. If you I ask that if you have questions, you can use the Q&A feature, and I'll be kind of getting those at the end of my presentation to circle back around. So please feel free to use that option. Typically like to start with my presentation with kind of looking at where Elon actually is located. And because I think a lot of times, even though you might be from North Carolina, just trying to determine where we are. We're located here right in the town of Elon, which is about a 5-minute drive away from Burlington, North Carolina, and about 30 minutes from Greensboro and about an hour from the Raleigh-Durham area. So we're pretty well located, close to some larger cities, but we're also, as you probably know, the state, we're not too far from mountains or coast, and provides great opportunities, kind of for our student population to really be able to experience a lot of different things that the great state of North Carolina has to offer. Now, kind of looking at the makeup of the class, this is typically what an incoming class each year looks like. Roughly about 20% of our students are in-state North Carolina residents. And as I talk about, this is the whole incoming class, which is about 1,800 students each year. And about 80 or so of those students are transfer students. But the general makeup of the class is about 20% in-state, and about 80% of students come from out of state, whether that be from the currently 48 of 50 countries and also 47 different countries outside the United States. Some of our biggest state contributors are in the Northeast, so Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland. Those are big states for us outside of the state of North Carolina. But we also did see our largest international recruitment this year. Even in a year of COVID, we had the most number of our international students that come. Now, when you look at the actual transfer population of students that come in, about 32% of those are actually in-state. So we do see a much larger increase in our in-state residents that are transfer students. But again, the other states, including New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, represent very similarly the first-year class as well too. So, like I said, about 80 students will join us in the fall for transfer, and about 35 or so in the spring. We do provide transfer cycles for both fall and spring. So that you do have those options. And as you can kind of see of our current population, almost 300 students here at Elon were transfer students. And the breakdown, about 183 of those students are from 4-year colleges, but 107 are from 2-year institutions. Now, not only do we have great geographic diversity, but we also believe in inclusion here at Elon. And about 20% of our students identify as racial or ethnically diverse. And again, we also have a large a growing international population of students, which really does provide a lot of great cultural experiences as well as students from different backgrounds. And you have that kind of experience here on campus where you're going to have students from all over being able to group together. We also do provide a lot of different offices that provide inclusion and global engagement, not only for students academically, but also socially as well. Now, Elon actually has 4 different colleges. So this is where you'll end up in one of these different schools. We have the Elon College, which is the College of Arts and Sciences, the Martha Spencer Love School of Business, the School of Communications, and the School of Education, all of which have received their highest accreditation by their accrediting bodies, which we're very proud of. With having 4 different schools, you may feel like you have to pick one and you're just kind of stuck there. You have to apply to that school, and that's not really the case. Our schools are not exclusive, so you have the option to come in to any one of the colleges that you would like. And so if you kind of already have an idea about what you want to major in, then you can go into that school. But we also provide opportunities for students to double major or pick up minors. We actually encourage you to do them in some of the other schools as opposed to staying within that specific school. Now, we also are looking at some increased STEM opportunities at Elon, especially within the School of Engineering. You might see that rendering there is actually the innovation quad that they're going to actually break ground on in February. It's going to be for the engineering school, but it's going to have an astrophysics lab. It's also going to have a green roof. We're going to do a huge water reclamation project there as well. It's going to be a main hub for not only our engineering program, but other STEM initiatives here at Elon. Now, as I kind of move on to the presentation, I want to talk a little bit more about what makes Elon different and why you may want to join our community. And we kind of will start inside the classroom. Typically, on average, we have about 20 students per class. Now, Elon is an institution of about 6,200 undergraduate students. And so even with being a mid-sized institution, we still provide opportunities for students to have kind of small classroom setting and experiences. And with such a low student to faculty ratio of about 12:1, we really promote faculty mentorship. It really provides students that opportunity to really have that experiential learning experience with a faculty member. I mean, often that is why faculty choose to come to Elon, is because of the amount of work they're able to do directly with our students. And all of our classes are taught by faculty. 100% of those classes are taught by faculty. So you know you're going to be getting the quality instruction that we can provide. Now, we also have what are called the Elon Experiences, and these are things that you're going to do outside the classroom. Students must complete at least 2 of these experiences, and some of the big ones are our study abroad and our internship experience. Study abroad, almost 80% of our students will do a study abroad. About another 12% do what's called Study USA, where you can actually do a study abroad experience that's here within the US. We have 3 different campuses, one in LA, one in New York, and one in DC. So if you don't want to do a full experience out of the country, you still have that experience to do here in the US. Internships, about 88% of our students are completing an internship, and I'll kind of touch on that here in just a few minutes on my next slide. And with research, about 25% of our students are going to be doing up to 2-year in-depth research project directly with a faculty member that I don't think you're going to find at the undergraduate level very often. And we also provide great experiences with not only service learning, but leadership opportunities where students can get involved with student leadership very early in their college career. Now, as I alluded to before, about 88% of our students are doing an internship before they graduate. And this is a list of places where we not only send students, but we send them regularly. We have kind of dedicated internship spaces there, and we provide not only that experience for one student, but also many students. And of the 88% that did an internship last year, 62% of those directly led to employment after graduation. So we're very proud that we're able to not only provide a great placement for students, but also that they're able to then get employed. Now, the next part of the information is related to students who just graduated within 2019. And of the students who graduated, this was 9 months after they graduated, 95% said that they were either employed, in grad school had joined a service organization or were completing their internship. And of that, about 92% said it was directly related to their career objective. So they weren't just getting a job, they were getting the job in the field that they wanted. And so we were able to provide that kind of placement for students to not be able to just get any sort of job. This is them getting the job that they want. Now, kind of looking at the student organizations, we do provide over 284 different clubs and organizations, and this is where the student leadership aspect really comes into play. They range from academic, club sports, with fine arts, student government. We have sororities and fraternities on campus as well, different service organizations. So I believe you'll be able to find something that you have your interest in. However, if you don't, we do provide great opportunities for students to then create new clubs and organizations by grabbing a group of friends and getting an advisor, and you're able to then create a new organization on campus. We're also part of the NCAA Division I. We're in the Colonial Athletic Association, so we compete against teams all up and down the East Coast. So as being a mid-sized institution, we do provide highly competitive athletics at the varsity level, but we also do provide club and intramural sports as well too. So if you're not necessarily going to be playing the varsity sport, but you want to continue an athletic career, you do have a couple of different options when it comes to those types of sports. Now, I know a lot of students will ask about housing opportunities, and Elon does look at housing for students, and we do hold spaces for transfers each year. But we do also provide off-campus options as well too. So you do have the ability to live on campus as a transfer student, but we do, like I said, we even have references directly on our website about off-campus locations if you are looking to live close to campus, but not necessarily be a part of the on-campus living community. Now, I kind of want to transition a little bit into some of the cost and financial aid structures. This is the breakdown for this current academic year with tuition and fees and room and board. But based upon research done by other private institutions that are in the top 30, we're considered a best value institution, typically being about $10,000 to $15,000 less expensive than a lot of our competitive schools. Now, when it comes to financial aid, we do ask for students to complete both a FAFSA as well as a CSS profile. This really helps us identify students in terms of any additional need-based aid that could be, and it gives us really a kind of a holistic picture when it comes to student financial aid. Now, we also offer what's called a transfer and engagement scholarship, and this scholarship is going to be considered for students who have at least a 3.0 transfer GPA and at least 24 semester hours from their current institution. And so, or if you're in the process of completing that 24 hours, you can also be considered for that scholarship that is available for both spring and for fall admission cycles. So, and looking at application, I know I kind of said before, but we are on a rolling admission process for our transfer students. And so if you're looking at our traditional fall semester, we try to have all applications completed by July 15th for that upcoming fall. And then for our spring semester, we do hope to have at least the application in by December 1st. We do understand that your grades may not be available until mid to late December, which is okay. But we will accept, we do have a grace period to get all the necessary information in, but we do try to have the application in by December 1st for that. Now, when it comes to, if you're looking at our spring enrollment, Elon does have a little bit different of a structure. We have a winter semester where basically the month of January. And so our spring semester doesn't traditionally begin until usually the first week of February. So we do have a bit of a gap between our traditional fall and our traditional spring semester. So know that we do have time to work with you if you are thinking about a spring transfer. Now, looking at the application process, we'd have two different versions. There's the Elon application, and then there's also the common application for transfers. You can use whichever application that you would like to use. It does not matter to us, but feel free to use either one of those application cycles in order for us to get your application. We do look for students that have at least a minimum of 2.7 transfer GPA, as well as one full-time semester completed, which typically is at least 12 transferable credit hours. We do understand if you're in your first semester, know that if you're completing your first semester this fall, know that we will just need to wait until your final transcripts are available for us to be able to review your application. Now, looking at the actual application requirements, we do require college transcripts from any and all colleges that you've attended after graduating high school. We do also require a final high school transcript, so you can have that sent directly from your school with a graduation date on it. We also are going to require a student conduct form from any colleges that you've attended. This basically just looks to make sure that you were both academically and socially eligible to return to your college, or if there's any sort of disciplinary issues that may need to be considered. We also ask for you to complete an essay. This is not only a great opportunity for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and let us hear kind of who you are, but this is also a beginning evaluator, making sure you're writing at the level that needs to be attained here at Elon. And then we obviously want to see any extracurricular activities that you have done that are going to help, that you're going to be able to then provide to enhance your experience here at Elon. Now, kind of what it would be next steps if you're looking at it, considering Elon. You want to make sure that you have an application submitted. That's a great place to start. Again, pick your application window that you're interested in. But ultimately, if you decide that you want to move your application, it's very simple. You can contact me and I'll help get your application moved. The next step would be, if you're on the transfer page, we actually have a transfer course equivalency guide that really helps students look at the courses that they've already taken and how they can be transferred to Elon. If you're a North Carolina community college student, we have an option for students. Instead of looking directly by college, you can look up North Carolina Community College System directly. It'll have all the courses listed out that have transferred to Elon before from a North Carolina community college. Or if you're at another institution, you can actually look up your school specifically to see what classes have transferred. Once you get to that point and you've been admitted and you know that you're coming to Elon, then we look at completing your enrollment process by submitting an enrollment deposit, which lets us know that you're planning on enrolling. And then we have what's called a student advising survey. That is really how the next step of the process will work. We have an academic advisor that works directly with our incoming transfer students to help them get registered. She'll set up an appointment with you to then go over any final classes that you're taking and then kind of talk about your career path and what you're going to be looking at as far as subsequent semesters by scheduling your classes out. So it's a great experience for our students to be able to have that connection here on campus. So I'll kind of close out the presentation part. Obviously, if you have questions, I'm going to dive into that here in just a minute. But I also really encourage students to take a look at some of our social media pages. We're putting out a lot of content in relation to some different options for our students here on campus and different. And the admissions page is really the way to get started. We have a lot of Facebook Live sessions where we're talking about different majors on campus, living on campus, dining, all sorts of facets of campus. We understand that not everybody can visit right now, so we want to try to provide as much of that information as possible. But I'm going to go ahead and open up any sort of questions you may have. If you want to use the Q&A feature, feel free to go ahead and use that now. We'll let you know while if you're thinking of any questions you may have. We do provide some visiting opportunities for students currently, so we are open for visitors. We have scheduled times kind of Monday through Friday, and then we're also open on a few Saturdays as well too. So if you're thinking about doing a visit to campus, know that experience is available, and if you do, you can let them know when you get here that you're a transfer student. I'll be glad to connect with you as well while you're here on campus. We also provide some different virtual experiences for if you want to sit in a classroom, maybe something in your major you can register for those directly on the Elon website. I don't see any questions as of yet. Hopefully that means I've covered most everything for you, but I do want to provide another few minutes if you do have any additional questions available. Well, if you do have other questions further, you can easily find me on the Elon website. I'm the only one who works with transfer, and so if you have specific questions about the transfer process or about classes transferring in, please feel free to email me or call me. We also have what's called a Counselor Connect section on there under the transfer page where you can actually request to do either a phone or a video chat, and we can set up that. We have kind of like 20-minute time blocks. We do have one question that did just pop through. How much is the application fee? And so our application fee for students is $60 application fee. However, we do provide some different waiver options for students as you're completing the application. If you're eligible for a waiver, you can do that directly on the application. It will let you know if you're eligible for that waiver. All right, we'll go ahead and any final questions that you may have. Well, I want to thank you for joining me on this session today. I appreciate you guys being here. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions or any way that I can help you look at transferring to Elon.
All right, thank you so much to everybody that joined us today. I just have a few last minute housekeeping announcements before we end the webinar today. So again, thank you all for joining us. After you close this window, you'll get a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate it if you fill that out and help give us some feedback. We're always taking feedback for improvement. Just remember, this is one of many sessions offered throughout this program, so you can sign up for more sessions on the CACRAO website. And then again, the recording will be available within about a week, so be sure to check out that recording. Or if you've missed any sessions from the previous few weeks, you can check out those recordings as well at CACRAO.org. And again, thank you all for joining us. And at this time, we will end the webinar.